Okay, this is Spartan Subjects 5. Today we're just going to compare two commonly used World War II air rifles, commonly used in World War II, versus the German K98 Mauser. This is actually a Yugo 2447 Mauser, but the only difference between it and the K98 is, the only difference is that the handguard extends the full length of the barrel, and on the K98 it only extends about that far. But otherwise operation, bolt, stock, feeding mechanism, trigger mechanism, barrel, sights, identical. This is your Russian M9130 mosin nagant, most commonly used rifle from the Russians. Today we're going to compare these. We'll start with sling attachments. Mauser sling attachment is a metal clip, which means it's, I don't know, and then this one is just a cut slot, pretty archaic, but obviously this is probably going to be a little stronger than this, even though the screws are kind of tight. Another advantage I like over this than this is you're running around, that makes a bunch of noise. If you have a sling attached to it, it's okay, but if you don't, it makes a bunch of noise. Same with up there. Next thing is the butt plates. Both butt plates are just a piece of sheet of steel formed. Then the stocks. This stock is a teak stock, finished with teakwood oil, obviously, is the original finish, and a birchwood handguard. This here, I believe it's just a maple stock, finished with original factory coat, refinished with original factory coat, same stuff that they used at the factory. Obviously, same with this, is refinished, same to original specifications. Then we'll move to the trigger mechanisms. The Mauser has a two-stage trigger, meaning you pull it back and there's a little more resistance. Once it's at that point of more resistance, you just tap a little bit and it's a hair trigger, which means it's more accurate. It makes it more accurate because you know when it's going to go off. The thing with that is there's a little more moving parts and they're a little more complicated trigger mechanism. Not really an issue, but like let's say you take it apart, you have to strip it or something, you're more likely to lose parts. This is probably a very simple trigger mechanism, but you don't really know when it's going to fire. There's no distinctive thing. You just pull it and it fires. Less parts, obviously, very simple. Probably the simplest trigger there is. Let's move on to the magazines. Both are 5-round box magazines. I personally like the Mauser magazine better because it's contained in the stock. This sticks down, which is, I don't really like that much. I like it, but not that much. Mauser, to open it, you have to take a bullet, stick it in there, there's a little hole, it pops open. This I like better here because it's just a thing you pull with your finger, opens right up. Sights, let's go to sights. The sights and the guns, more accuracy. Obviously, as you can see, this barrel is about 11 centimeters longer than the Mauser. But for accuracy, with open sights, i.e. iron sights, I'd probably go with the Mauser. Simply because the sights in the Mauser are V-notch. It's a V-notch and a V-notch post right there, which means there's no movement. Once you get those sights, they're in there. They're precise. You don't have any leeway right or left. With most of the nagants, it's just a bowl style sight, as you can see, with just a basic post, which means iron sight shooting, you're going to be more accurate with the Mauser. Scoped, i.e. sniper rifle, I'd probably go with the, oh by the way, both of these are 4-twist rifling, have 4 rifle twists. Sniper, I'd probably go with mosin nagant because there's a longer barrel. That's pretty much the only reason. Longer barrel, you do get more accuracy with the scoped rifle. And again, you got the 2-stage trigger here, so I'd probably say they're almost pretty much equal for sniper rifles. Next thing is the cleaning rod. For ease of use, I'd probably stick with I'd like the mosin nagant cleaning rod because it runs the full length of the barrel. As the Mauser cleaning rod only goes about that long. It's only about 20 centimeters long. Which really, you gotta half the barrel here, or carry another part of the cleaning rod in your pack, and that's not really practical. Let's go over the bolts. I'll set the camera down here so I can go over the bolts on the guns. The mosin nagant bolt has a bolt handle that sticks out, approximately 3 centimeters. Yeah, about 3 centimeters. Pull it up. Comes out pretty loose, which is good. Less jamming. But a thing that's kind of, I don't like about this bolt is it's force fed, which means you push the shell and the extractor pushes over it, which is sometimes, if it's a little dirty, the shells get kind of hard. You really have to go like just, like that. And this is only 3 centimeters long, your bolt handle, so you really can't get much leverage. But other than that, it's an extremely simple bolt design. It's really loose, which means it's not really going to jam. You're not going to have issues with the firing pin getting stuck. The only problem is it's just the slam feeding, or you kind of have to, if it gets a little mucky in there, you have to kind of just push it and then get it down. But other than that, I mean, it's a good bolt. Really, that's, oh, by the way, sights are graduated to 2,000 meters, which is 2 kilometers. Who the fuck could shoot anything 2 kilometers away? Yeah, bolt's pretty simple. The only thing I don't like about this bolt is its firing pin screws to the cocking piece, which means you have to have a tool to make sure it's the right depth. Other than that, good gun. Now the Mauser bolt, on the other hand, has a bolt handle that extends out about, 1, 2, 3, 4, about 5 centimeters. About 4 centimeters. Which, you get more grip, more leverage, bolt it open easier. Mauser bolt is extremely simple to take apart. No tool needed to set the firing pin. Just twists apart. 3 safety positions. This is to, obviously the first one is fire. Up here, you can open it, can't pull the trigger. That, can't pull the trigger and you can't open it. The bolt's locked. This, you get more leverage, your shells feed a lot easier. The thing about this is if you get muck inside the actual mechanism of the thing, of the bolt, it tends to get a little jammed up, but really you're not going to get much crap in the bolt unless you're like in swamp or something. Sights on this are pretty 2,000 meters too. V-notch obviously. Weighs about the same. Decock this rifle, push the bolt up, pull the trigger. Decock it like that. Bolts. I like the extractor on this. This isn't force fed, this is slide fed. I forgot to show the safety on the mosin nagant. Safety in the mosin nagant is kind of a pain in the ass. Cocked, ready to go. You have to pull this back and then twist it like that. Which, I mean, really not a practical safety if you think about it. To decock this, hold the cocking piece, pull the trigger. You can do it the same way as the Mauser, but I do it like that. Overall, maneuverability, I'd probably go with the Mauser. I actually did take my Mauser hunting just this last weekend, and I shot a porcupine out of a tree at 200 meters, or about 250 meters. So it's extremely accurate. That was just iron sights I shot it out of there with. Dead accurate rifle. Never taken the mosin nagant hunting, but the mosin nagant, I mean, target shooting performs very well. I mean, it's a very good gun. It's dirt simple. I mean, it's caveman simple. Caveman simple to take apart, everything like that. Mauser's actually simple too. Bolt's simple. Bolt's kind of simple. It's simple in the Mauser to just take apart. This one is, well, a little more complicated, just slightly. But overall, you don't have to clean it as much as a Mauser bolt. This is probably more accurate with the scope. Mauser, I don't know. That's really about it. Really, it's a personal preference. I kind of like them both about the same. But for hunting purposes, iron sights probably go with the Mauser. Just because this is not very wieldy, it's a really long rifle. 9130 is a really long rifle. Not easy to get in and out of a car or truck. One other thing I like about this though is it has the hand grooves there, which helps with recoil because you can get a firmer grip. This does not, which really some people don't really think about, but this actually does help with recoil. There's almost no recoil on this gun. Another nice thing about the longer barrel on this gun is it doesn't make as much noise because there's a longer barrel. This, you really hear the noise when it fires. But other than all, that's it. Spartan 765 out.